Hey guys, welcome to another ManOn2nd podcast. I'm Mike Sunday, joined as always with Joe Fasaro and a special guest today who doesn't need much introduction from Marlins fans. One of the most favorite players from my generation, at least. Derek Dietrich is with us, but Joe, why don't you give us more background on Derek?
Yeah, we're real happy to have Derek as part of the show today. Obviously, Marlin fans know very popular player Derek Dietrich. 2013 to 18, Miami Marlins. Played in the ballpark pretty much once it opened. A year later, Derek, of course, is from Ohio. He last played the big leagues. Derek, 2020. Yeah, and we're gonna, we know Derek's not done playing. He could get us up to date with what he's doing now. Derek, in his background, you can see he's in lovely Jupiter, Florida. That's where he's training. So, Derek, just kind of fill us in. What's up, and welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, hey guys, hey Mike, hey Joe, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be able to stay in communication with the people in baseball. And Joe, we've had such a great relationship over the years. And Mike, maybe this is the beginning of one that we'll have for years to come. So thanks for having me on first and foremost.
Yeah, appreciate it.
No problem. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. So you hit it on the head. I obviously throughout my time with the Miami Marlins, I got to come to spring training here at Roger Dean in Jupiter, Florida, and I fell in love with the area. Just a beautiful place and great place to train and to prepare for the baseball season. And then it was always close to Marlins camp. So here I am, still in Jupiter, Florida, 8-9 years later from 2013 when I first started with the Marlins. And you hit it on the head, Joe. I have such a strong desire to continue to play Major League Baseball, and I'm in great shape. I've been working out every single day up here. I've got a couple facilities that I go to, Arise Performance here in Jupiter, as well as doing some baseball work with guys over at Cressy Sports, who's very well known in the baseball industry. And I've always maintained shape, and I've always stayed in great shape, and my abilities there, and want to show teams that I'm still have much potential and a lot of ways I can help teams win. So that's my goal, and I'm staying ready. I'm holding some private workouts coming up here in the next few days that maybe we could touch on a little bit more. But just doing everything I can to keep my name out there, to keep my name on the radar, let teams know that I'm in great shape. I'm ready to play. I want to play, and I have a lot to continue to give this game.
Yeah. Speak to that. I was going to ask, obviously the lockout, we didn't know when it was going to end, Derek. It hurt players like you. Now the shortened spring training, you didn't have 6 weeks. You had basically 3.5 weeks. Now I think tomorrow is going to be 2 weeks till the Marlins have opening day. So it kind of put players that are in that kind of pool with guys like you to get the workouts, to get those NRIs or any other contract you get from big league. But you did note that you have some workouts going for, so kind of take people through that process, how you're doing it. Obviously you'd have scouts come in, watch you hit and so forth. How's that process going along, and let's hope there are possibilities for you, buddy.
Sure. Well, yeah, this was a unique experience, I think, for players and for organizations with the lockout and negotiations. I don't think anyone's ever experienced it quite like this. So this was new for everybody. And it was difficult. And don't get me wrong, it was tough not to be able to talk to teams. Since I left the Miami Marlins, I've negotiated each year on a free agent contract, and it kind of goes in a pecking order. And also there's, which guys are going to kind of come off the board first, so to speak. And so you kind of wait your turn, but you also have to be, good with communication, negotiations with teams. Well, with the lockout, obviously none of that could happen. So what usually transpires over the course of 3 months has to and is continuing to happen in about 3 weeks of time. And each day is very crucial. So, there's still time. Each day it makes it a little bit more difficult to be major league ready, but I'm staying in great shape. Like I said, I'm holding a workout this weekend on Sunday. And really what happened, it boils down to you invite teams. You're through my agent or through myself. I invite teams. I invite all the contacts that I know that are either around the area or that are nearby, and just really invite them to a voluntary workout where I'll take batting practice. I'll take ground balls at second base, third base, wherever they'd like to see me. And really just get a chance for them to see me, because usually you see me out on the field in uniform, my name on my back, or a jersey on, and getting at bats and playing like that. But you have to get creative. You have to think outside the box, sending videos off of swings and live at bats and just workouts, and just trying to keep the eyes on me as best as possible, staying on the radar, and also creating opportunities that could lead to an avenue to help a team win.
You mentioned earlier about that you played winter ball in the Dominican Republic, correct?
Correct. Yep.
How was that experience like for you? And given the type of player you are, you're one of those, me and Joe called new generation guys that like the excitement, not afraid to show their emotions, and playing in the Dominican where the fan base is crazy over there and fun. What was the experience like, not only just playing in the winter ball there, but also just playing for those fans?
Well, yeah, winter ball is always a unique experience. Something that the fans, you think our fans are passionate, theirs are just as passionate over in the Dominican Republic. This was my second opportunity. I've played 2 times now for Águilas Cibañas in Santiago. My first was in 2014, when actually my AA manager the previous year, Andy Barquette, was my manager in the Dominican. So it was kind of a unique experience to play for him in AA, make it to the major leagues with him. Your cat's getting on you. I love cats, by the way. But so following year, played in the DR. So it was about, 2014 to about 2022, 2021. It's changed a little bit. I played in the regular season then, and it's kind of crazy how it came about. Like I was speaking to earlier, getting creative, taking videos, reaching out, making phone calls that you might not necessarily make. I took a video of myself hitting in Cleveland over the holidays, like a couple days before Christmas, and it got down to the DR, and they're like, "Hey, when was this?" And I was like, "This was yesterday." And they're like, "Geez, you look freaking good, man. You want to come play?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come." So I hopped on a plane down there the next day, and I was part of the team for about 2 weeks during the playoff run. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but man, you talk about, I playing in the regular season about 8 or 9 years ago. Playing in the playoffs is a totally different ball game. I mean, the place is packed. I mean, because now the restrictions were lifted, people were all over the ballpark ready to see baseball, and those are big games and big situations. So anytime you can go and stay ready and continue to play the game in such a competitive environment, I mean, I was all for it. So it was an awesome experience for me.
Yeah, I would think, Derek, I mean, you have to love that the new CBA has the DH universal for the National League. Obviously huge for you. You're a left-handed hitter with power, and and analytics should like you because you walk, you get hit by pitches. We'll talk about that a little bit, but you kind of know the game, in that offensive-minded player who can play multiple positions as well. So your thoughts when the DH came on board, and obviously has to be an avenue for you to another position on the field.
Well, it is and it isn't, Joe, because I have a lot more to bring to the table than a DH. So where you may get a guy that is really just offensive minded and oriented, I can still play. Actually, I'm coming off my best year defensively. By the metrics, the Yankees do such a fantastic job with their metrics and how they prepare you. Coming off my best year defensively at second base and third base. So mix in first and left. I still love to play defense. And so in a way, it can hurt me, but obviously my bat's always played at every level at any team, and has always been a good piece to the lineup. So yes, I obviously want to get my bat in there as much as possible, and the DH does keep that opportunity. But for guys that can also play defense, you don't have to get as creative as now in the National League. When my previous managers were, Donnie and David Bell, and guys that really utilized me in the National League and worked me in, you don't have to be as specific with how you manage the game now. So it just like anything else, you get something and you got to give up something. So, but nonetheless, it's another opportunity for sure.
So are you for DH, just from a baseball fan perspective and a player perspective, are you for DHs in both leagues? That's like a hot topic.
I think the game was good the way it was. Yeah. So I liked my time in the National League, and I liked being part of that piece that was so versatile that, you know, you had to be creative with, and when you use the utility guy, when you use the guy off the bench. So, hey, the higher ups that know more than me and want to create, you know, the high excitement, I'm all for it. I just love baseball, so it is what it is.
Yeah, Mike, I was going to say, yeah, we're going to segue over to, you know, obviously Derek played with the Marlins from 13 to 18. Basically, it's the launch of the new ballpark, and just, you know, speak to your Marlins days. And I think just to backtrack a little bit, a lot of people think you were part of the Toronto trade, you know, that big trade that they made, but obviously you were drafted by Tampa Bay and second round in 10, I believe. And out of Georgia Tech, and then traded for Yunel Escobar, who was part of the Toronto trade, flipped to Tampa Bay, brought you in. You came in year 2 of the new ballpark, and just you know, kind of your what is really kind of fond memories of opening up the ballpark and just kind of, obviously 13 was more of the rebuild year, but you know what that experience was like, and your tenure in Miami in general, 6 years total.
Okay, so. Well, my first thoughts were, man, this park is big and colorful. So, which I guess they've toned it down. I've seen it obviously playing after the fact, and you know, seeing the sculpture, the home run sculpture out there in left center field, that was something that was, you know, super unique. So, you know, it definitely had the Miami theme and the Miami vibe. So, you know, they did a good job of creating that early on in its, you know, in its career there in the Marlins Park, but. Man, very blessed. Like you said, started with the Tampa Bay Rays, made a fast track after the trade, 2 years in the minors, maybe another month, and I got an opportunity in 2013, a few years after the draft, and you know, sort of didn't look back since, and had an amazing 6 years with the Marlins. I was blessed for the opportunity. Obviously, we started to build a really good team there in those 15, 16, 17 years, and you know, I made it such, you know, so many good friends. I think about how my career started as a rookie, and, you know, 6, 7 years in playing with the Marlins, how it kind of, how I grew as a player, as a teammate, as a person. Got to experience so many cool moments with fans. They had the Derek Dietrich fan club up above the Clevelander. Had just awesome experiences that, you know, you'll never forget. There's so many to actually think about, but just always think about more than the experiences there, the teammates and the relationships that I created, that I still maintain, you know, from my time in Miami. A lot of the guys I'm sure we still all follow and check in on, and you know, the Christian Yelich's, Marcelo Zuna has been such a great friend to me over the years. I always see Big G. He comes back to Miami to train and work out. We're always seeing each other. Obviously, I see JT Realmuto all the time. Guys like that. Even guys like the Cole Gillespies of the world. You know, we're spent some time there. We've always hit it off, and you know, obviously Miggy. Miguel Rojas always was quite the personality. So, you know, really you think about the people and the teammates, you know, more than even the experience or some of the, you know, the games and the things you do in the game. And I think that's how it is in a lot of jobs or in life.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mike can speak to this in a second, just because you are like, Mike's in his early 20s. So players like you, the new ballpark is really when they were becoming baseball fans. And Mike, illuminate on that. You know, obviously you saw Derek and really were relating to the early years that he came in.
Yeah, it was crazy that, like, I felt like from, you know how crazy Twitter can be. There was from the get-go, there was a crazy section of Marlins fans that were hammering for it. We need Derek Dietrich in the lineup every night. You know, he's not a platoon guy. He's not this. We need him in the lineup every night. And I'm sure Joe even got it through a bunch of fans after all the articles that he wrote. We're telling him, like, we need Derek Dietrich in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Derek, your relationship with the fans, were you a little surprised? And I think Mike's cat's just knocking doors open and such.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all good.
Yeah, you know, Joe, the fans make the experience and create the energy. And, obviously you have to have the internal drive and energy and motivation as a player and within the team. But believe it or not, you get a lot of that from the fans and the fan base night after night. And yeah, we did have a very, we had a sporadic fan base, but we did have a group of consistent fans. Obviously, I'm blessed that I had a good group of fans that were always pulling for me and pushing for me. And, to touch on, what Mike said, at first I started as a platoon player. I always was able to fill in multiple positions when guys, would go down on injury or moved around or traded or this or that. But, I've always, my MO has always been to do whatever it takes and be available for the manager in any circumstance at any position. And, I got the chance to, I started my career at second base with the Marlins after being a shortstop my entire life, even in the minor leagues before the trade. So I transitioned to second base and then played a lot of third base. I would really be fibbing if I said I ever thought I'd play first or left field in the major leagues, but, played, maybe 70 games there about in 2017 or 18, and then a whole bunch of firsts. So, being versatile was always a key for me, but I really thrived and I really enjoyed the relationships with the fans and being there and creating those moments where, you could just see them after the game, see them down the line, communicate with them at batting practice, even during the games, turn around and giving them a wave. I mean, that's what it's all about, being able to communicate and make them feel special because, man, I got an opportunity to do something special, play the game that I love. And so anything you can do to bring them a little bit closer to the atmosphere and make them feel special and part of it, that's what we're after, I feel like, as professional athletes, and wins, of course.
Yeah, Derek, just this conversations bring me back to your debut. And, in 20 years, I've covered this team, seen a lot of debuts, a lot of first hits. And I believe the date was May 8th, maybe? We were in San Diego.
So we've
we've
got May 8th, 2013.
May 8th, yeah.
July 29th, 59. That was my grandfather's first day in the big league, Steve Demeter. So you are right. Jason Marquis, I'll tell you the story real quick. So I just finished a game in Jacksonville with the Suns, Double-A. Andy Barkett was my manager. It was about, 3 a.m. and the phone rings and he calls in and he's like, "Hey, what's up? Are you alone?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm alone. It's 3 a.m. I'm sleeping." And he's like, "Hey, I just got a call from Mike Redmond, who was the manager. And he asked me if you could play second base in San Diego for the Marlins." And he said, "F yeah, he can." Excuse the language, but so I was like, "That's what I want to hear." So, man, it was a day game, and so I scrambled. I got to the airport, flew all the way from Jacksonville to San Diego. I got off the plane. I was so nervous, thinking I was going to get there. I'll tell you what. Once I got the uniform on and I got out to the line and I started stretching, something hit me where I just felt like this is the same game I played yesterday in Jacksonville, Florida. And I mean, nothing's changed other than looking around, seeing that all the fans and how big the ballpark was. But in between the lines, for a second there, I just realized that this is the same game. And I was blessed. I got the chance to go up there against Jason Marquis. I took a 1-0 fastball and ripped it into right field for a base hit. And, that was the start of my major league career and something obviously I'll never forget.
Yeah, that was what are they at Solano? Donovan Solano got hurt, and I think Chris Valleca may have gotten. And next thing you know, boom! It was like the two second basemen went down like in 2 days, and that just speaks to Derek. Like, you never know when that opportunity is going to come, and then you just have to jump on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you never want to see guys get hurt, but obviously this game is grueling. This game is tough. It's brutal. The schedule is the hardest in sports. So, one of the things that I've always prided myself on, again, like I said, besides my versatility, is my availability. I always have taken care of myself and my body and my health. And that's been one of my biggest contributors to being available for those opportunities. And, so I was available and, not to never to make excuses or anything like that. But for the first time, I feel like last year people were thinking like, where's Double D? Where Derek Dietrich go? And I think the biggest blessing that a lot of people don't know, I'm sure not too many people know, is I was dealing with something in spring training that I'm so blessed and thankful that the Yankees medical staff, they discovered and kind of got me on the right track. I won't say much more than it was just something that's easily treated with the right, doctor supervision and basic prescribed medication. Just an autoimmune disease with the thyroid, something that a lot of people experience. And it was just something that was really affecting me even more so than I knew. And just to kind of cap it off, just grateful to Tim Lynch at the Yankees, head trainer there, and that staff. They really helped get me on the right track. And so last year was brutal and it was grueling. And I, for a second, I didn't know where I was. But that's to touch on the fact that injuries and health is super important. So for the first time in my career, I didn't feel my best, and I obviously didn't play my best either. So sitting here today, fast forward about a year ago is when we first kind of discovered this and started treating it. I feel so good and I feel so ready, and it's like night and day that, I want to keep playing. I'm ready to play. I feel, I don't even want to talk about the cliche, the best shape of my life, but I really got on the right track, trained my butt off this entire off season with a great group of guys and all over the place in Jupiter. And I'm ready to go. I've got a lot to still give this game. And so, injuries they stink, and they're part of the game and things you have to go through medically. But when you're healthy and you're feeling good, you want an opportunity, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, health is first and foremost, and we're glad that that's there. And we'll touch real fast before Mike changes our subject. You remember Jeff Brigham, the pitcher, right?
Yes.
Jeff is he's dealt with a nerve thing in his elbow. It's not a ulnar nerve. It's not a Tommy John thing, but he's been several years without pitching. He's on the back fields now, Derek, and I'm seeing him, huge smile on his face. He's throwing low 90s, building up, and he's just super happy to have an opportunity to try to get back. He's one of your former teammates, and he could have hung it up. I gave the guy a lot of credit because 2-3 years where you can't pick up a baseball and you're a pitcher and you're approaching 30 and such, where he was, and he's still fighting, and so that's a real reminder. This game is it's very taxing, and just have to be blessed to have a lot of health and the opportunities all there for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mike touched on it earlier. I mean, one of the things that I bring to the table is my energy and my passion and my enthusiasm to play this game. And, about a year ago, I was like, where's my energy? Like, where's now my passion was always there, but I just didn't feel the same for some reason. We couldn't put our finger on it. And, knowing what I know now and feeling the way I feel now, that there's no quit in me. There's no you should never count me out, because I still have a lot to play. I still have a lot of ways to help teams win, and I'm hoping for that same opportunity. Even if I got to get on the backfield somewhere, I don't care at this point. I want to prove to a team and prove to myself that, hey, I got a lot of baseball still to play. And with the health that I have now, and just hoping that an opportunity presents itself, and I'll take care of the rest.
I wanted to touch back on the Marlins years one last time, because you mentioned it, the 15, 16, 17 year where the team had gotten really good, and obviously the Jose tragedy changed the trajectory of that team. But in your opinion, how close were you guys from making that last step?
That's probably one of the biggest questions, or the questions I answer the most about my Marlins days is, how good was that team? Like, what do you think about that team? How good was it? And truly, I mean, if you think about the lineup we had, if you're thinking you have D. Gordon, if you have Hechavarria, obviously you have Yelich, Stanton, Ozuna, Real Muto. I don't know if Prado was there. I was there. Yeah. Justin Bour was there. And then you've got guys like Henderson Alvarez, obviously the best pitcher in the game at the time, Jose Fernandez. I really feel like, we were one more really good pitcher away from really contending and really scaring some teams, because that lineup was dangerous and getting better the more that we played with each other. So that was a good team. That was a very, very good team. Unfortunately, obviously we all know kind of the course and the trajectory it took after Jose's death was not the best. And, I just like I think about that team and how good it was. I always think about how blessed I was to play with someone like Jose. And the biggest thing I always try to do is keep his memory alive. And more times than not, it's not even through my doing. Someone always brings him up in a very unique moment that always makes you feel good. Obviously, the way he passed was not the best, but when you were around Jose, he just made you feel good. He off the field, in the dugout, in the clubhouse, on the field. Obviously, he was, I tell everyone, the absolute best competitor, hands down, bar none, best competitor I've ever played with. It didn't matter what you were doing. You could have been playing the basketball game in the back or playing a video game, riding the bike during spring training, whatever it was. Jose was the ultimate competitor, and you knew when he was on the mound that he was in total control, and that's who you wanted to play for. It's always kind of tough to talk about because actually, the one thing I wear, we got this when he passed, and it's so worn now. It used to say JDF 16, and I still wear it to this day. This is 5 years later because he's always with me. I always want to be reminded of his nature and his character, his passion and enthusiasm for the game. It was unmatched. I've never seen it before, and I don't know if I'll see it again. But I just hope that it continues to rub off on me, and I can kind of carry it with me as I keep going.
We appreciate those stories for all of us that experienced, and really, you couldn't help but love the guy. I mean, it just, he touched people in such a way. I remember, you spoke a little bit of his bike riding. He got me, and I'm not a lot older than you guys. And I'd ride my bike and I'd say, "Hey, Jose, I did 10 miles today." He goes, "That it?"
Yeah.
And next day I did 20. I'm like, "Jose, I did 20 miles today." It was just like, I'm not a professional baseball player. Give me some credit for doing 10. But that's how Jose kind of treated you. But he brought that bike. Remember the spring training? He had like a $15,000 bike. I know you ride as well. And he's like, "Oh, I love that bike. I would have loved to just take that out on Frederick Small and drive it all around." But he let me touch, lift that up. It weighed like 10 pounds. It was amazing. But he had that way. He had that way, and we
brought
were all
the best
blessed.
out of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And hey, as we kind of wind it down, we did want to talk about your upbringing. You mentioned your grandfather, Steve Demeter, who I always love the stories. The people that may not remember, your grandfather played pro ball, was a coach. Just take us through. I mean, you remember as a kid going to a lot of games and what it was like to have a grandpa who was a coach and a former player.
Well, yep. My late grandfather, Steve Demeter, was in professional baseball for 52 years. He played for 20 plus. After he was done, he held almost every position you could think of: scouting director, farm director, scout, national cross-checker, coach, hitting coach. A lot of time with the Pirates. He was with the Pirates '79 when they won the World Series. Just was all over the board as far as baseball is concerned, and really, it's been a family affair. It's been a family effort from day one. I mean, I grew up with baseball in my blood. I always wanted to play the game. I always wanted to be around the game. I had opportunities to go as a youngster to games and help them scout, hold the radar gun, be around players, watch players. He would teach me what to look for, what he was scouting for, what it meant to be a professional baseball player before I could really even understand. And, obviously his schedule, just like we touched on, baseball has got the craziest schedule and the most, enduring schedule. But when he was home, we'd always work together. My dad, my mom would be at the park, my grandfather, of course, and we would all be involved on the path to the big leagues for me and continue to do so. And I was very blessed. And just like I really enjoy the stories and the moments I think about Jose, it goes the same way when I get to honor and keep my grandfather's memories alive, because there's not a day that I go by when I speak to a baseball person in this game. It could be a local scout. Just had an opportunity the other day speaking to a Pirate scout. It could be a player. It could be a coach. It's somebody in baseball. It's crazy. Has a story about my grandfather. And 9 times out of 10, pretty much every single time, it's here's how he helped me in some way, shape, or form. Like and I always get amazing feelings. I love to run to the phone and tell my mom, because obviously it was her father. And I could only hope that one day, I don't know if I have 52 years in the game, Joe and Mike, but if I just hope that one day that I'm remembered in a way that I helped so-and-so, or I, made someone better, or made someone smile, or just brought enjoyment to somebody's life through the game of baseball the way my grandfather did. And, I always try to honor him by doing that.
That's a great tribute, and he would be proud of you, I'm sure. And you touched on something there, Derek. And one reason why in my retirement from MLB.com and while I'm doing the podcast and creative ManOn2nd is I still feel I have something to offer and bring these stories. And you know what it's about? The word is relationships. In baseball, the relationships you build in baseball, whether it's players, media, scouts, coaches, and so on, front office owners, fans. It connects in so many ways. It's why we do it. It's why we love this sport. And we're pulling for you, Derek. We're going to be winding this up. And again, you're out there. You're available.
Right.
Remind everybody. Once again, if they want to follow you on social or whatever, how's the best way to contact you?
So yeah, Joe. Again, I appreciate that, and you're right. It's about the relationships, and you've created so many with so many good baseball people. It's a brotherhood, and it sounds like he started young, watching us in the early years, and he's becoming part of it in his own ways. And it is a brotherhood. But again, Joe, Instagram is 32 double D. My 32 has been always my number, so 32 double_D. I'm always posting something funny out there, or something to keep up with what I'm doing, and how I'm either staying active or staying ready. I've gotten so much fan mail just from a few posts. I'm always enjoy signing cards and returning fan mail. A lot of times I go to my parents' house in Parma, Ohio, but wherever I get them, I'll sign them and send them. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm working hard. I'm staying ready. I want to continue to play this wonderful game of baseball. I have a lot to give, and hopefully an opportunity will present itself here in the near future, and you'll see me out on the field, and we can do this again.
We're looking forward to it. Again, thanks, Derek. Mike, any last words, and then take us home, my friend.
No, I mean, growing up a Marlins fan, you definitely cracked my top 10.
Thanks, man.
So it's awesome to have you on the podcast. Appreciate you for coming on. You guys can check us out at ManOn2nd. Subscribe to the YouTube page at 5 Reasons Sports. And this will be posted later on today. We appreciate you, Derek, coming on.
Hey, thanks, guys. Joe, I don't see a chain on you. Mike, you got a starter chain. So
I have to get more with the times, don't I, Derek? I'm going to get more with the times.
You're looking good, guys.
I got to get my money up, and then I'll have a new one.
Well, keep it going, guys. Well, I appreciate